situation, so we need to take those calls. So I need to reach out to the client service coordinator, find out if that is still the case or if they have like an expiration date. Blah, blah, blah.
Some might say we're spontaneous, maybe impulsive.
So exciting.
Call it what you want. Either way, we're heading to Yellowstone. We planned on making a plan. I mean, we just never got around to it. Besides, what's the fun in plans? The lady on the cell phone says it takes about 6 hours from our driveway to the west gate of Yellowstone. However, she doesn't take into consideration all the restroom breaks and sightseeing. I'm guessing we'll get there when we get there. No hurry, really. After all, you can't just ride past places like Craters of the Moon without trying on your moonwalk. Folks make the pilgrimage to Yellowstone from all corners of the globe. This place is kind of like the Holy Land for wildlife photographers. You can feel it when you enter the park. You can call it reverence, awe. Regardless of what you call it, it's real. I mean, it's tangible. It's in the air. It's in the sounds. The idea is to head straight to Lamar Valley. The problem is there's a lot of distractions along that Grand Loop Road, which is fine. It's not like we have any real plans. We'll just take it all in. You can find amazing lookouts while heading north on the Grand Loop Road just before Mammoth Hot Springs. It's a magical experience to watch those mountains get bathed in that morning light. Oh, and speaking of Mammoth Hot Springs, that's another one that's hard to pass on. Might as well stop and say hi to those violet green swallows and that family of elk that hang out by the lower terrace, and of course the ones around the town of Mammoth. Trust me, you can't miss them. Lamar Valley and the northern bison herd. It's breeding season here in the valley, and the big bull bison are making their presence known. Love is in the air, and you can hear it, and you can smell it. So this is where I give my first piece of advice. It's simple. Pay attention. These guys aren't thinking straight this time of the year, and they'll run up on you quick. I stayed pretty close to the car most of the time, and Katie stayed in the car. And I must admit, I got nervous there a few times. Nervous enough that I decided to join Katie in the van. Looks like I'll be photographing from this window for a while. I really would love to spend all day with these bison, but I didn't exactly plan for that. Besides, it's time to refuel the van and our bellies. Boy, it sure is hard to find a nice place to grab a bite to eat around here. I guess we'll just have to settle for this little parking spot along the Yellowstone River. It's always nice to have lunch with the natives. Since we're talking about food, I think it's time for the first public service announcement. Bears. It's hard not to notice all the bears, not the bears, but the bear signs. Every public picnic table, outhouse, and turnout in Yellowstone has bear signs. Seriously, you'd think there'd be bears standing in line with you to go to the bathroom. Katie and I, we've never seen a bear, and not for lack of trying. We do look in all the hot spots and watch for all the signs. Most of them probably really aren't signs at all, but what do we know? We've never seen a bear. So if you're nervous about possibly getting eaten by a bear, just go to Yellowstone when we go. They can smell us coming, and they obviously don't want anything to do with us. You know what doesn't hide from you, though? Waterfalls. Oh man, I'm telling you, Yellowstone has some of the best waterfalls in the country. We've seen a lot of waterfalls in the park, but the one at the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone and the one at Gardner River, they kind of take the cake. Visiting waterfalls is kind of our way of passing through the mid part of the day. And if you can't pass enough time looking at waterfalls, there's always geysers. Plenty of geysers. Supposedly about 500 of them in this park. Any time spent with geysers reminds you how alive Yellowstone really is. The land underneath your feet is churning. As majestic as some of these geysers can be, I have to remind myself that this is boiling hot sulfur water full of microorganisms that thrive on these extreme conditions. Either way, they sure do draw a crowd. Katie and I stuck to the Fountain Paint Pot Trail. Now, Grand Prismatic and Old Faithful are the main attractions for sure. However, be prepared to visit those locations when you have a little more time. Perhaps when you make a plan. They are quite popular. As fascinating as the waterfalls and geysers are, Katie and I passionately crave interactions with the beautiful wildlife. I recommend you find yourself a nice spot along any river in the park and take in the little movements all around you. As a photographer and now videographer, I have this insatiable desire to capture it all and to share it with you. Katie, on the other hand, well, she's just content with taking it all in. Capturing bird footage is typically paramount in my world. However, there is one more experience that I'd love to have prior to leaving the park this evening, and it looks like things are about to go our way. There they are. the elk herd of Madison River. The lighting magically fell across that valley. It felt like a storybook ending to a beautifully unplanned trip. Now there is one more special place we want to visit just outside the park prior to heading home. Mesa Falls. Mesa Falls is located about an hour south of Yellowstone in the Caribou-Targhee National Forest. Be sure to take that entire Mesa Falls scenic byway that borders Henry Fork River. You'll thank me for it. If you enjoyed this video and maybe even found it helpful, hit that subscribe button and join us on another adventure. Oh, and click on this video if you'd like to see our trip earlier this spring to the Grand Teton National Park. Thanks again for watching, guys. Have a good one.